Yes, yes. When I was thinking about this talk and the snorkel and the mask, I didn't have my snorkel and mask here. So I went and did the next best thing. My snorkel and mask is on Hawaii, and in the condo out there that my daughter and my son-in-law are in, and I asked the one person who has everything, Annette Cook. Whatever you need, Annette Cook has. You name it, she's got it. If she doesn't have it, Jim Downer has got the costume to go with it. So this is my snorkel and my mask, and the idea for this talk came out of the Daily Word, which is in July and August. Let me tuck this back here so we don't get that caught when I'm flailing around like I do. And it says, under July 6th, new adventure. This is the first day of my new adventure. First-time snorkelers might initially struggle to keep above the waves. Those of you who've done snorkeling, you know this now. If you get in there and you've got your head back like this, well then the water comes in the snorkel and you can't breathe. So you have to train yourself to do something. It's not natural to you. You take the mask like this and you just move yourself downward and you look down. Down. And as you look towards the ocean bottom, deep within, the rolling surface is forgotten, and you begin to become awestruck by a vast, different perspective, a world of colorful fish and forms. Beneath the surface, you notice a whole new world of existence, consciousness, and bliss right below your everyday life. If a life situation for you has become more of a struggle than an exciting adventure, make the decision to change your perspective. I break away from limiting conditions and affirm a whole new way of life. I break away from limiting conditions and affirm a whole new way of life. And when I do, an unexpected world opens up to me. I begin to see the joyful adventure that has been waiting for me all along. Our scripture today comes from Isaiah 48:6. You have heard, now see all this. And will you not declare it? From this time forward, I make you hear new things, hidden things that you have not known. Our practices are designed to help us go deep into the well of our own being and discover a depth to us that's not available to a lot of people who don't have these practices. I got the gift, oh gosh, about 15 years ago, of taking Maureen's niece, Sarah, on her first snorkeling adventure in Hanauma Bay. Anybody been in Hanauma Bay in Hawaii? Beautiful fish, very colorful fish. And she's legally blind. She only has a little bit of vision out of one eye, and that's only if something's about an inch away from that eye. So I went into the water with her, about this deep. And the first thing I said, holding her hand, is, do you trust me? She goes, absolutely, 100%, Uncle Richard, I trust you. Big first step, right? So I said, well, here's how you work it. You put the snorkel and the mask on, you know, that thing that you see with and the breathing techniques we talk about, and then what you do is you lean down forward and relax and just allow yourself to look downward, downward, downward. I said, are you ready to do that? Do you trust me to help you with this? And she says, yes. And see, the thing about someone who is blind like Sarah is she's had to trust in unseen forces like that for her whole life, for her very existence, to get across the street. A seeing eye dog at the bus stop at an air terminal. She has no choice but to trust things she cannot see. You and I talk about that kind of trust, but very rarely do we develop it. Sarah's got it. So I'm with her, we got the mask on, and off we go into the vast sea of existence, consciousness, and bliss. So what do you notice when you look down at the well of your own being in the ocean of bliss that we're surrounded by? You notice little fishies swimming around, don't you? And I like to think the little fishies swimming around, all different sizes, shapes, and colors, as part of our thought and feeling and habit patterns. They exist right below the surface of where most people hang out. There's the red fish of anger, and then there's the yellow fish of fear, and there's little things that bite you, and things that have sharp teeth, and then there's the big turtle that comes up to you and moves very slowly, and then there's the manta ray that whoosh, just goes right by your belly. See it? Those are your own children. They're the fish of your thoughts and your feelings and your emotional patterns. They're all right there. They exist right there. But right beneath that is something much deeper. There's a depth to you and I that we can touch, that can transform us from the inside out if we're willing to practice and get deep in the water of our own being and take a look at what we see when we're there and not be deluded or frightened by the many forms that come up when we begin to do this deeper work. We realize we're much more than what we appear to be. It's beautiful when we experience that. I'm actually stealing this talk. Where's George Dolan? He's not even here today. I'm doing his daughter's talk. Reverend Sally Hubble. They're never here when you want them. If you notice that, you'll sit and hear this talk and go, God, I wish he was here to hear this. He really has a problem with this, you know, this issue. But she's not here. And it's a talk that comes from an article I read in a magazine from her, an article that she wrote on this particular type of jellyfish. And I'm not going to try to say the name because I'm going to crucify it. It's way, way too long. So I'm just going to call it the immortal jellyfish. That's it right there. Have you ever seen one of these? In all my years of snorkeling, which I've probably snorkeled thousands of hours, I've probably seen one of those, but I didn't know how special and unique this little jellyfish is. When you take the snorkel and mask of these teachings and you look deeply into something and study it, it reveals its secrets to you. And what's amazing about this creature is that when it meets a tragedy or a difficult situation or just comes to the end of its life cycle, it does some very Buddhist things. Its tentacles retract. It pulls its energy back inside. Yes, it doesn't reach out for more or push away. It just retracts, and then it looks like for a moment like it's died, and it goes to the bottom of the sea. It practices pure waiting, and it looks like to the physical eye that it's no longer alive, but the truth is it's in a crucified state which will very soon become a resurrection. As it pulls itself inside, it begins to regenerate its cells. And then its tentacles come back out again. And it has a whole new life cycle without interrupting the particular moment of time that they're in. That's pretty cool stuff, right? There's a guy who's been studying them. His name is Shin Kubota, and he lives in Kyoto. Kyoto? Did I say it right this time? Kyoto, in Japan. And he, through his kindness and compassion, has been studying these creatures for years and years and years. And because of his kindness and his love and his compassion and concern for these creatures, he's been able to rear them in captivity. And he's unlocking the secrets that are being revealed to him because his love and his kindness and compassion allow you to do that when you're doing that in your life. And what he's finding is that literally what happens to them is they go from the mature state to the immature state and then back to a new life, all within a few moments. Do you feel that? It happens just like that. They're able to transform themselves by pulling away from the appearances that they might be stuck in and then allowing themselves to bring forth a new life, regenerate the cells that they're in. Literally, almost like a butterfly going back into the cocoon and coming out a caterpillar, or a grown chicken crawling back into an egg and popping out a little chick. They're able to do that in the twinkling of an eye. That's what Jesus did in the resurrection, my friends. He was able to regenerate the cells and atoms of his being. And guess what? You've got the same potential inside of you as well. We're leaning towards that kind of teaching. And so, of course, science is all over this because everybody wants the magic pill. All the baby boomers are getting old, you know, so we want the magic pill. Every vitamin you buy now, and it all says things like, this is the cellular equivalent to awakening consciousness. If you take this, your cells will regenerate and you'll be unbelievable. Please, I take all of those pills. All of them. I do. I believe in them. What is that about us? We want to get it in pill form, right? We do. What is it about us that wants to be immortal? What it is about us is that we know we are immortal beings, having a moment in time in a mortal coil called a body. We know that. We know we're spiritual beings, living in a spiritual universe, governed by spiritual law. We know that. So the impulse to want to create that outwardly is a drive of something going on inside of us. We want to have the immortal life of the Christ consciousness. Not later, but right here and right now. And there's nothing wrong with that impulse or that urge to keep awakening to who we are, as long as we don't get addicted to what the form looks like. So when we study these creatures outwardly, they're giving us an inner teaching of what we can do with our practice. When something happens to you and you find yourself reaching out to grab onto it or to push it away, rather than react and contract to your normal thought pattern and allow the fish of anger or judgment or fear to come back up again, you just instead decide to allow the energy to come back inside again, to not give your cellular structure and energy away to another appearance. So Maureen G. and Lisa G. will come back and totally enlightened. They'll be even more obnoxious than before they left. They were making their journey to Oneness University. And by the way, where is Oneness University?
India.
You live in Oneness University. It's all around you. And so they're at Oneness University making their journey there. I took them over on Monday in the car. We drove over, and they were supposed to leave at 1 o'clock and then connect to a flight from, not Atlanta. What do I keep saying, Atlanta? Washington, D.C., and then get a flight to Frankfurt, then Chennai. Well, we got there, and if you remember last Monday, not unlike today, there were all these storms going on. So when I got a call 4 hours later, they were telling me that they didn't make their connection to the flight to Frankfurt, and now they were standing in a line with 250 people, all who had missed their connecting flights. That's just with one airline. And Maureen says to me, "Don't you ever give a talk again on Plan B or pure waiting." And I said, "You're making this my fault?" Please don't tell the 250 people in line that this minister gave a talk on Sunday about Plan B and pure waiting, and he's the reason why we're all stuck here. I wish I had that much power, but I don't. And of course, then we're all laughing and having a good joke about it. And so they had to practice deepening and doing Oneness University, not when you get there, but while you're in the middle of it, here, right? They had to practice it. The next morning when she called, she was still in the United States. They were supposed to already be in Chennai, and this time they were waiting for a possible flight that would take them on this cockamamie route from Washington, D.C. to Houston to Chicago, or Chicago to Houston, then to Frankfurt, then to Chennai. And would their bags ever get there? They didn't have any bags that night. I don't know if the bags are even there. My sense is they got there. But the truth is, when does the practicing of the deepening into the awareness of oneness happen? It happens right now. For wherever you are, here's the practice. You get a chance to either grab and want more, and waste energy trying to change things you can't change. They did everything they could, by the way, to change the reservation. It doesn't mean you don't do anything, but you don't do it with that sense of, you've got to make this work for me, because then people behind counters don't want to help you. Have you noticed that? Tough to do these, that you're standing in line. If you're going to be mean to me, I don't care. No one's telling me I got to be nice to you anymore. That's all over with. So if you come on that way, the world will swim towards you with people who treat you that way. And they met this wonderful man who spent an hour with them, and we worked their flight for them to make their journey from where they were to where they needed to be. That's how life works for you in your own life as well, too, by the way, friends. Life is always looking to give you what you need in the moment that you need it. I've got a dear friend who is a free diver. Do you know anybody, ever watch anybody free dive? He can take a snorkel and a mask and fins, and literally he can go down deep, 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 deep into the depth, the bottom of the ocean. He is able to take in huge amounts of oxygen, shamatha, awareness of breath. Woman at the well of Samaria, breathes spiritus. He takes in huge amounts of oxygen. And then he's able to calm his heart rate down to 40 beats per minute. And then you watch him go deep down. And when you're watching him, it's kind of scary, because he just keeps going deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper until finally you could barely see him. And then he looks back up and he waves at you. And I'm adding this now. This is my interpretation of his experience. He said there have been moments when he's had experiences of immortality at the bottom of the ocean, where he looks back up and he sees all the different fish that are swimming as thought forms, feeling forms, and all the different ways in which we have embodied our fears and our doubts and our judgments, all those different things that are still part of the flow of our life, but they're appearing only at the surface level. He then lifts himself up as he's coming up, and he passes through all that, and then he notices the snorkelers, where 90% of the people on this planet live, snorkeling in their fear, their doubt, their victimhood, splashing, thrashing about, oh my life, and oh here's another storm, and I'm the victim of circumstances, and all the cells in the body are dying, and trying to figure out what you want, because your body just does what you do with your mind, and it's just crazy out there. And he goes, then he pops back up again, out of the water, and then enters into the next moment, which is to take that immortal perspective of the place he's just touched, and bring it into the mortal experiences of your everyday life. Because that's what you have to do, right? You practice, practice, practice. So I'm standing on the shoreline, I'm in the water with Sarah, and it's time for us to go in. She's mastered the shallow water, and now it's time to go deeper. When you master the shallow water, it's time to go deeper. That's right, and you go deeper, and you go deeper. And you keep going. That's right, that's what your life is about. It's going to keep doing that to you. So I've got her hand, and she's got mine, and I have a little system. I'll squeeze your hand a couple of times when I see something that would really be amazing for you to look at. So we're in the water, and we notice at about 12 o'clock, this huge, huge sea turtle. I've seen them before. I squeeze her hand, and I say, sea turtle, 12 o'clock, 12 o'clock. And so we start to move towards it. You don't want to go too close, because you'll get a huge fine if you do. And all of a sudden, the sea turtle, this 200-pound ancient sea turtle, begins to come towards us, swimming right towards us. It ignores me, and it goes right to Sarah, right to her right eye, the one where she can only see 1 inch away, and I'm not lying now, that turtle stayed there for at least a minute, right there, and she is screaming, I'm screaming, and the turtle ain't moving. It was as if that turtle connected with her, because she's so present in a way that we who have all of our senses, we miss half of what's going on. She was innocent and holy and pure and waiting there for something to come to her. And guess what? When you're in that place of waiting, something does come to you. And that turtle, it swam around us for another 15 minutes. And what I get is that all of life is swimming around you. And all it wants you to do is stop chasing after it. Allow it to come to you. This present moment, this holy instant, there's a sea of thoughts and projects and possibilities that exist as part of your life plan. Don't reach out and chase them, because then you push them away. Take a moment to be present, to calm down, to follow your breath and see what's in front of you with new eyes. And literally, friends, the universe will greet you with what you need when you need it. And you won't miss the life that's swimming all around you, that wants to help you awaken to who you are. Yes, this is our practice. This is why we're here, for this new adventure, this brand new, fresh day that's happening when? Right here and right now. And as you practice going deeper, you become familiar with your thought and feeling fish. And it happens to all of us. You will have days where you will get hooked. Yes? Fish hook? Yes, you will. Oh, there's comparison, there's judgment, there's a health issue, there's a challenge, and you'll take it in. Oh, I got hooked by it again. You'll notice that. You'll notice you got hooked by it again. But you won't fight it. You'll literally be like a good fisherman. On a good day, you'll reel it in, you'll take the energy in, you'll gently remove the hook from that fear, that doubt, that judgment, and you'll take the energy and put it back into the ocean of existence, consciousness, and bliss. That's what I call a good day. Yes, when you're able to see the things that you normally get hooked by and let them go. Release them into the sea of that which is much greater than what appears to be. And finally, back to our scripture again. This is again Isaiah 48:6. You have heard, now see all this, and I will now declare it. From this time forward, I make you hear new things, see new things, hidden things that you have not known before. You've got the practice, you've got the face mask. It'll take adjustments to get it just right, to get all the water out. Put your breathing techniques to work and dive deeply into the life and the present moment that you have been given. You practice, not just for yourself, but for all the other beings that are swimming in the ocean of existence, consciousness, and bliss. In Hawaii, we say something at the end of each one of our services, and I'll say it to you now. Aloha, mahalo, and hui ho. Until we meet again, I invite you to practice.
Practice. Practice.
See you all soon. Namaste.